welcome back to Classic Gamer 74. I'm your host, Anthony Gamer, and in today's episode, continuing on with our unit on the NES, we are going to be discussing one of my all-time favorite games. That is Demon Sword. Before we get started, I just want to say hello to everybody and apologize for not having uploaded any material for a while, other than the tribute I did to the Ultimate Warrior. I've been awful busy with work, and many of you know I'm a teacher, so sometimes my energy is not the best, and there are times when I come home and I just feel like crashing and stuff. So any of you that are educators, you probably understand. But anyway, so I'm back to discuss one of my all-time favorite NES games. Now, before I get into the game itself, why is this one of my favorite games? Well, for one reason, and that is that it was one of the first games I ever beat on my own without the help of the game Genie, which actually is saying a lot. Also, just the fact that the game is just a whole lot of fun. I really enjoyed playing it over the years, and when I was preparing for this video, I played it again. Now, this game originally was released in Japan under the name Fudo Miyu Den, which means the Legend of Akala. Now, there are differences, of course, between the two, as those of you that have played Famicom games and then played the regionalized NES games know. So what are the big differences? Well, you'll have to wait till the end of the video to find out. So without further ado, let's get into Demon Sword. Okay, now this game was originally released in North America in 1990, but before that it was released March 29th, 1989 in Japan. And this game was developed by Tosei and was published by Taito. Now in this game, an evil demon is ruling over the world and its inhabitants, and they live in fear of it. But there's one man who will fight against this demon. His name is Victor, and he has a sword that can destroy the demon. Unfortunately, the blade had been split up into pieces, and Victor must travel through 3 worlds to get back the 3 broken pieces in order to restore the sword to defeat the demon. And worst of all, the demon, has kidnapped his girlfriend. So, there you go. That's pretty much the setting. So, generally speaking now, Victor's a pretty tough guy. Now, if this gameplay looks familiar to you, it probably should, as this game is quite similar to a previous Taito game called The Legend of Cage. Actually, some people have called it a spiritual sequel to the game, which I do agree with. But instead of being Kage. Excuse me. When I was growing up, it was Legend of Cage. I didn't even know it was Kage until a few years ago. Now, as you can see, Victor has the ability to jump really high. Not only does he have the sword at his disposal, but he also is able to use different types of magic. Now, the game contains 3 worlds, with 2 stages in each of them, and then the final stage making 7 in all. Now, there are mini bosses throughout the game that you can fight, and then there's a boss at the end of each stage. Now, he also has, like as I said, he has other cool magic spells that he can get, like the arrow darts, which kind of look like shurikens, power beams, all kinds of stuff. But you got to be careful when you're jumping around, because there's all kinds of traps like holes and all kinds of other stuff to try to stop you on the way. At the end of each world, Victor is able to gain another piece of his sword. And then, of course, this flying skull thing takes off with the box that gives Victor that power, and he must chase after it and then continue on his mission. Each time he gets more powerful, the sword gets more powerful, and you have more weapons and magic at your disposal. But also at the same time, the enemies get more powerful and the levels themselves get trickier and almost maze-like. Along the way, Victor is able to get keys to unlock these secret rooms, and inside those rooms you'll either find a mini-boss or a special power-up that you can use to fight off the enemies. Now, as the levels get further, you really have to use your platforming skills, because, as I said, you're not going to be going straight to the right, like in a lot of video games. Sometimes you may have to go up, sometimes you have to go down, other times you can keep running to the right forever and the level won't end. So it takes a little bit of know-how in order to find your way to the end of each particular stage. At the end of each stage, you have a boss to fight. Now, most of the bosses can be easily vanquished with the sword. However, there are some bosses that only can be beaten by magic. So it's trial and error to figure out which power that you're actually going to use. Ultimately, you have to rely on your own wits, your dexterity, and keeping your focus on trying to get to the end of each stage and ultimately rescue the princess and destroy the demon. Really a fun game, honestly. I have to say it is one of my all-time favorite NES games and one that I return to quite frequently because, like I said, it was the first game I ever beat without using the help of a Game Genie. Unfortunately, I don't quite have the dexterity that I used to have, so I kind of use the Game Genie when recording the game for, the footage of this game for this video. If you yourself ever played this game, and let me know about it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your stories, and if you haven't tried it, hopefully this video has motivated you to give it a try, which I do highly recommend you do give this game a try. And if you do, let me know what you think of it. Okay, so this is the original game, Fudu Miu Den, again, which means The Legend of Akala. So what are the differences between the two? Oh, there's a lot of them, and here are just some of them. There are 6 more stages and several bosses in the Japanese version. The player in the North American version has a vitality gauge for each life remaining, while the player in the Japanese has only life count. There are more items and magic spells available in the Japanese version. The ending in the Japanese version has extra scenes and text cut from the North American version. And, of course, the cover itself. Now, I showed the cover at the beginning. Let me put that up on the screen right now. Now, yeah, that character on the screen doesn't look anything like Victor. I know. I don't really know why they chose this cover as... yeah. Anyway, as Victor is wearing a red kimono, and yeah, so I don't know why they did. Here is the original Famicom cover. As you can see, it fits the game a little bit more. Also, the levels are a lot longer and more difficult. There's more traps. It's almost like night and day, honestly. It's almost like a separate game. I do recommend you try the original Demon Sword first, and then check out the original Famicom game. Some of the power-ups are really cool, too, and really bizarre. So it's definitely an experience worth trying. So if you haven't tried the Japanese one, as I hadn't until a few years ago, it really is cool. I mean, they're both great games, but strap yourself in for the Japanese game because it's a whole nother experience. In our next episode, we're going to discuss all of the launch titles for the NES. Well, that brings this episode of Classic Gamer 74 to a close. I really hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for staying to the end. If you did enjoy today's episode, let me know by giving me a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to click that little bell icon down there so you'll be notified when I upload any new episodes. Also, connect with me on all my social media platforms, and please help me out on Patreon, where you're going to find some stuff that you won't find anywhere else. Until next time, this has been Anthony Gamer, and I will see you all in the next episode. Until then, have yourselves a great week. Bye for now.